My name is Mark Shabat. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at Zingtree. Really great to meet you or interact with you guys all today. We got some really exciting things we want to share that I think will be both interesting and potentially something you want to work with us on after the call. I've asked GT, our Vice President of Customer Success, to join the call today as well. GT will help answer any questions that come up and help moderate Q&A, during the conversation today, but also at the end of the call. So if you are a Zingtree customer, GT is probably very familiar to you. If you're not a Zingtree customer, GT is a product expert. He's been here for many years. He knows the solution extremely well and is very capable of helping our customers get maximum value out of the solution. So if everybody's good to go, let's start the journey. GT, yes?
Let's do it. Excited.
Do it.
Seeing a lot of familiar faces here on the list, a couple of new ones. Looking forward to meeting all the new ones.
Fantastic. So I'm going to start. Let me share the screen here. Bear with me just a second as I get that teed up. Everybody see the screen? Do I have a thumbs up from the audience? Yep. Okay, great. So we're here today. We're going to talk about a concept that we think is really, really exciting and really, really important in the CX space. We're talking about intelligent automation, how it impacts how you can get more value out of Zingtree itself, but more importantly, out of the ecosystem that surrounds Zingtree in your enterprise environment. How do you enable your enterprise environment to just deliver more value, more dexterity, more results through your CX strategy across all your processes? And we think it's really exciting and compelling. We think there's a lot of good things to learn in this presentation and good things to think about in this presentation. So hopefully you'll agree. And worst case scenario is as you leave this with some good ideas, maybe some cool questions to ask yourself, and maybe even some ideas for things that you can do that deliver more value and impact to your organizations. Myself, like I said, to open this, I am the Chief Revenue Officer here at Zingtree. I've been focused on customer experience solutions for the past 20 years. I have helped to build and deploy knowledge-based solutions. I've helped design and build live chat features, email management solutions, social listening solutions, agent desktop solutions in the cloud when cloud was just emerging, all the way up through ensuring that multi-billion-dollar organizations have an effective strategy for CX. And here at Zingtree, I'm continuing that journey with something that I think is really important, really impactful, and extremely timely in the current technology evolution and innovation that's occurring, especially with AI. And we're going to hit on some of those concepts today. The first thing is, though, I want to ask the audience, who here is an expert on AI? It's an interesting question to ask because, AI in its current form really started getting a lot of airtime and thought when GPT came on the market about a year and a half ago. That's when people started to think about what's the impact that large language models and AI can have in customer experience and lots of other aspects and early, solutions and early ways to incorporate AI were brought into lots of tools across the entire ecosystem. And some of those had some incremental impact. Some of them are really exciting. And, some of them are, you know, things that are causing all of us in the industry to think differently, which is really exciting. Um, but, this is still very, very early days in AI. The things that were exciting 2 months ago are obsolete today. Things that have been deployed in the industry 6 months ago are being rethought about how they can redeploy to get more value out of them. It's just a fast moving environment. Things are changing at a faster pace than we've probably seen any innovation impact software and, since maybe things moved from on-premise to in the cloud. But that was something that happened 20 years ago, and lots of stuff is still on-premise in enterprises. This innovation curve, though, is trending to be much faster. It's going to impact us all. And even though today I don't think any of us can say we're experts in the space, I don't think there's anyone on the call that can say that they're an expert in AI. But we are all going to be very, very immersed into AI over the next 18 months, because the CX industry is a place where AI can make a big impact. And so we're all going to be experts. When I ask this question to somebody, a year from now, 18 months from now, every hand is going to go up, because we're going to be in the 1% of the 1%. Just because we're in this industry, we're getting exposed to these concepts early. We're being forced to think through how to deploy them successfully, how to deploy them securely with guardrails in a way that really drives impact and doesn't box you in from the innovation that's going to happen in the near future. And those are some of the things that we're all going to be really experts on. I'm excited about talking about some of them today. But let me start this conversation. What's the customer's perceptions of AI today in the market? So all of us are, through our strategy, serving consumers. And then let's juxtapose that, to the perception of AI that's emerging in all of our companies these days. Us trying to serve consumers and us trying to deliver more efficiency for our organizations. Let's take a look at both of those a little bit. At the first end, here's customers. 75% of customers find chatbots ineffective with complex questions. 65% of customers lack trust in chatbots. 30% of consumers switch providers after a bad chatbot experience. 28% is the average CSAT score in the industry with AI chatbots that have been deployed. Clearly, consumers aren't thrilled by some of these strategies. So clearly, consumers are, we're not hitting their expectations for what a interactive chat bot or interactive GPT experience should be providing them from a results perspective and from an experience perspective. There's still a lot of room to deploy something that works better and maybe can have more impact on behalf of our customers and improve their experience with us. So that's on one side of the equation. On the other side, I see this a lot when all the companies that I work with, hundreds and hundreds of companies over the past year, somebody in your organization is saying there's a way for us to save a lot of costs this year by deploying AI in customer experience. Somebody has an executive, somebody has a board that's putting that pressure down and saying, what are you doing this year with AI? And that's interesting. It's very important for us to understand. And somebody also said, I saw somebody demo it. A lot of great AI solutions out there. Anyone in this industry can create a demo that looks really, really good. Therefore, there's a lot of shiny objects out there in the marketplace that attract our attention, that are really cool, that in a lot of cases can do a lot. But the complexity or the realities of getting them deployed effectively, maybe some of these demos are skirting over some of that complexity. And however, the pressure of our organizations, companies in this industry, that are pushing down onto all of you that are leading CX organizations, and pushing and giving you pressure to deploy something that's innovative right now is occurring. And that's something that we should all be aware of, and it causes us to make sure that we can ramp up our knowledge about what's out there very fast, so that we can be effective, responsive, and proactive in educating our organizations on what we could do, what we should do, and what we need to do first. So, there's a lot of failed AI and GPT initiatives out there. And what's the common themes, I think, of what is creating difficulty or failure or less than effective experiences? Let's dive into those a little bit. Here's an example. Air Canada. This is probably a very well-known example of the AI solution going off the rails. What happened here is the chatbot offered a deal to a customer that it wasn't supposed to be able to offer. The customer accepted the deal through the chatbot, and a lawsuit ensued, in which the Air Canada lost the lawsuit. And it was because this AI chatbot didn't understand what it was supposed to be able to do versus what it should not do. The business intent, the policies around how to make decisions, the complex decisioning framework wasn't something that this AI bot was able to understand effectively, and therefore led to a less than successful experience, both for the customer and for the brand. So that's just one thing to point out. Here's another one. This is where a Chevy dealer gave away a chatbot for $1. Somebody was able to convince the chatbot to give them an offer for a brand new Tahoe, and got the chatbot to confirm that it was a real deal. Let's say here it says, I need a Chevy chatbot. That's a deal, and that's a legally binding offer. No takesies, backsies. That's what the chatbot said back to the customer. And gave away a free car, basically. Again, an experience where the chatbot didn't know how to apply guardrails, apply training on the business's own models and the intent of that business, in how it responded and interacted with the customers, was able to hallucinate, go off the rails, and cause a problem for that business. Here's another example that we see all too uncommon, is that people that deploy GPT solutions typically make sure that they work for things that are positive to the business, like signing up, buying something new, becoming going to a better level or a higher level of service and paying for it. But they often exclude the things that customers come to the experience for very often, which could be unsubscribe for a time period, change their account, all sorts of things that a consumer is intending to automate, maybe in a positive way, but the experience that they're having with the GPT solution can provide a less than satisfying experience in those situations, and negatively impact the brand image of the brands in the minds of these consumers. And the impact then is often a frustrated customer that then has to go in through another channel to handle their issue with the support team, compounding the pressure on the internal support organization in handling those calls. So again, another way where the right hand didn't understand what the left hand was doing. That's something we see a lot with GPT deployments in the marketplace today. Here's an interesting one where the delivery service in the UK, and the chatbot went completely off the rails and actually started bad mouthing and wrote a poem about how bad an experience this brand was providing to their consumers. DPD is the worst delivery firm in the world. They are slow, unreliable, and their customer service is terrible. I would never recommend them to anyone. What was that chatbot trained on? Clearly, it was trained on the global internet, and not on the specific processes, the specific knowledge, the specific guardrails and policies of a particular brand as they deployed it into the marketplace. This is something that we see happening all the time. And then that same firm, again, a lot of dead end experiences for their customers. If you're deploying a GPT solution to the market, you have to think that it's beyond just what you can provide them from a search into your knowledge base or to your support articles and systems. Your customer is coming with an expectation that they're not going to get dead ended with an experience where they're just going to have to call your team or submit a ticket through another system. They don't want to just they just don't want to be directed to content. They typically want that content to do something for them. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But the dead end experiences is a common problem we see across the board with current deployed GPT and chatbot experiences, and AI in general in the marketplace. So intentional or not, a lot of these have similar themes. We'll drill into those a little bit over the next couple of minutes. But the other thing that you want to start thinking about is, what are you teaching your customer when they have these experiences with your chatbot or your GPT system? Are you teaching them to use it in the future? Well, if they didn't have a great experience, it didn't work for them, probably not. If you've deployed these types of solutions to provide real-time assistance to your agents in your contact center and they're not working, or if they're just popping up, noise in front of your agent while they're overburdened already with navigating the support experience, what are you teaching them? Are you just teaching them to ignore the suggestions and the help? These things, you really don't want these bad habits to be built in your customers or your customer service agents. So you have to be really conscious about, what are we deploying, how is it being deployed, and what's the impact on both the customers and your team. And just something to think about. But here's a big question. Have any of your customers said, hey, what I really want from you is a robot? What I really want is a chat experience with a robot or machine when I need help? I don't think anybody's been asked that by their customers. What do I think they've been asked for? What they really want from you is, they want you to do something for them. They want you to take action. They want you to solve their problem. They want you to solve the connected issues that may all be chained together in solving a problem. They just don't want knowledge. They just don't want content sent to them. They want you to do something for them, or they want you to give them the ability to do it by themselves through automated processes and automated actions. They want you to do something for them. That's the mental intent of somebody that comes to your support site. They didn't come there because they were, having fun that day and just started to navigate your site. Clearly, they came there because they had a problem, they had a reason, they had something they wanted to do, they had something they wanted you to do for them, something they needed your help with. And what experience do you provide them? Because what they want is action taken on behalf of, to solve that problem. And what are they? Well, there are lots of things, right? They could be return something, unsubscribe, cancel something, add more, change my address. There's lots of common ones that are simple, and then there's lots of complex ones. We'll talk about some of those complex ones here in a little bit. But let's think about Amazon right now. So Amazon, everyone on this call has used Amazon. Probably everyone on this call has returned something to Amazon. They sell a lot of commerce globally, and they process a lot of returns globally. And what have they really done very well? They've built a system of automation to manage returns and refunds that makes it extremely simple for all of us to process that return. That system of automation does lots of things. But for the consumer, it's as easy as clicking a button, right? Click one button, it asks you a little bit of information, and then you click another button and the return is processed. At the in the background, there's a lot of automation going on. They're deciding in real time through AI, is this product, am I shipping it to a warehouse where it's going to be resold? Am I shipping it to a warehouse where it's going to be palletized and sold in bulk? Do they want you to just throw it away because it's not worthwhile them returning it to, in the system? All that's happening in real time. They don't ask the customer. They don't burden the customer with that, questions are behind that, but they answer that to the customer automatically, instantly, right after they click a button. This processes an enormous amount of customer service interactions automatically every single day, and it's highly effective. Does Amazon need conversational AI to automate self-service in this example? I don't think so. I think this is a great example of the right tool at the right time, right? You create the automation, you put it in line where the consumer expects it to be, you give them a button to click, and they are very successful with that transaction and that change. I think if you put a chatbot in front of this experience, Amazon would be overwhelmed in a day with contact center calls into their contact center, escalations into their contact center. So you have to think about this. Not GPT is a great solution. It's not the greatest solution for everything. Right tool at the right moment is the way we need to be thinking about this across the customer journey. And to do this, we have to be thinking about what's required to create an effective system of automation. What is Amazon deployed really, really well in this environment? They understand context. They know who you are. They know what you've purchased. They know exactly how often you purchase. They know all of your consumer behavior with them on the site. They know if you typically, order from one location and ship to multiple locations. They're very personalized in that experience to you. They understand how they want to make decisions, right? Maybe they don't accept returns for a package that was purchased 180 days ago, or a product that was purchased 180 days ago. But because you've spent $18,000 on the Amazon in the last 90 days, they're going to have an exception, that because they have a policy that enables this system automatically to say, we're going to return it for this person, because that's their business intent. These systems of automations really understand the intention of the business, what they intend to do and what they intend not to do. That's really important in a system in automation that guides the automation to do the right thing every single time. It's highly connected, is what Amazon has deployed. It's connected to all of their back end systems, their inventory system, their warehousing system, their shipping systems, their order management system, their billing system, their commerce front ends. All of these things are connected, and they have invested in a system that connects the actions that trigger changes across all these systems. So the warehouse is ready to process that return as it comes in, so that they already know what they're going to do next. And this investment in the system of automation at Amazon is extremely powerful, and is probably they started investing in this system of automation quite a long time ago. And they know us as consumers extremely well. They know how to anticipate us. They know how to automate experiences so that we build trust with Amazon. That was their goal. They wanted to get close to us so they could build trust with us. And even though I have the intention of, when I'm buying art supplies for my daughter, going down the street and going to the neighborhood art supply store, I'm highly likely just to click a button and order it again on Amazon, because I trust them. And I trust they'll get it right. And I trust if there is a problem, they'll fix it. And it'll be so simple for me to do. All I have to do is click a button. Okay. So, these buttons, think of this journey as enabling your ability to click buttons, right? Enabling your customer to click buttons that automate tasks, enabling your contact center the ability to click a button and get something accomplished fast. Execute the actions simply. Do a lot of the processing, a lot of the work, offload it from the customer, offload the context understanding from your agent in the contact center, and turn it into an action that can be automated through clicking a button. Turn the decisioning framework, the policy adherence, into a system that turns it all into a button and gets it right every single time. And then when you're ready and you have that automation in that back end experience in place, the system of automation in place, AI can then orchestrate these experiences better. It can then enable your chatbot to not just provide answers to customers, but then to take the actions they need to solve the problems or implement all the changes downstream, even in very complex situations. Enable your agents to get next best action triggers in their right in their desktop, whatever system they're using, to augment the value they get out of Salesforce or TalkDesk or whatever front end that your team is leveraging to serve your customers, and scale your ability to drive impact. So the question I like to ask at this point is, do you have a action automation framework in place? If yes, you're probably really, really ready for AI and GPT solutions that are in the marketplace. If you don't have an action framework in place yet, you might not be ready for AI, and you might need to start a crawl, walk, run approach to getting your business, enterprise, and systems ready to really take advantage of AI and not provide a less than spectacular experience to your customers. Because if you have AI and you put it on a system that's not connected, that doesn't have, can't do automations, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. You're going to stand out and all your flaws are going to show up, right? They're going to be front and center for your team and your contact center. They'll be front and center for your customers through their self-service journey and when they're contacting your team. AI can highlight, it's great at solving problems and helping you distribute solutions to your customers and your team. It's also really good at showing all your flaws and all places where you're not prepared for the customer journey. So it's the stakes are pretty high when you start going down this road. This is just what we've seen, interacting with our customers in the past. So, a system of automation that's a prerequisite for successful deployments of AI, GBT experiences. It's this system of automation that needs real-time access to your content, your context, the intent of your business, how to personalize experiences, how to make decisions, what your policies are across your organization, how and when to trigger connected systems, and drive automation and connected actions across your experience. You have to have that in place. If you have that in place, you've got a really good foundation for everything you're going to want to do today or in the future. And if you build the system right, you're future proof, right? You build the system right, you can plug in anything that comes in the future, and it can leverage the infrastructure, so that you only have to manage all of this connectivity, all of this intelligence and automation in one place, not in every single deployment that you potentially might do in the future with AI. This gives you speed to market. It gives you the ability to leverage IT in just one area rather than 20 areas. It speeds up your ability to react to the changing environment and to plug in the new type of technology as it exists, as it innovates over time. So really important to think about, are you ready? Have you built this? How do you enable it today? But it's been historically really hard to do this, right? All of you guys have struggled with this in the past. And it's because in large B2C enterprises, your systems are very siloed off. Your data is very siloed off. Your IT team and your dev teams and your product teams are already overwhelmed with the work they have to do just to keep up with your product needs and your previously deployed solutions in place to keep them talking together and working together. They're using a previous generation of integration technology. They're using a previous integration of how you move data around your enterprise. And because of that, they're handcuffed, right? It takes you months to get things changed across your ecosystem. It takes you potentially months, maybe even years, to get even something changed in Salesforce, to change your workflow or deploy new intelligence or new information into a new system. We're constrained because of these enterprise, deployments, and because of it, because of the complexity of your customers, the complexity of your products, the complexity of policies and compliance requirements. This isn't easy. And it's really hard to keep up with the pace of change. You get it deployed into a system of automation. And because of this, we're all failing in effective customer experience. We're not meeting the demands of our customers. There's a lot of, lack of centralized knowledge. There's a lot of lack of centralized ability to access information and data when we need it in a workflow. And we have high churn rates because the level of effort that we're putting on our teams to solve all this manually in the contact center is overwhelming. It's not sustainable. You get a big churn, which means now you have a huge cost in retraining, rehiring the staff you need just to support your customers. And you're not, even when you make a decision to deploy, hey, an AI chatbot or GPT solution on the front end, it's underwhelming. It's having an underwhelming impact because it's not able to execute enough in your environment to make that investment worthwhile. And we see this happening, right? You've got this continuous cycle of pain where your customer has pain because they're engaging with the chatbot. It's not giving them the answer they need. It's a very generic answer. They end up fighting out of that into a support queue of some sort. They call you on the phone, maybe. They have to repeat everything they said to the chatbot. They're already frustrated. The agent pulls up the record. The agent has to pull up all these other systems to get customer history, billing history, what products they own, do they have a warranty? Like, they have to look up everything across all your infrastructure, just to know who they are. They have to then take that and search, what's my policy in handling this type of customer that has this type of problem, and across different systems that are also probably siloed from your contact center. And they struggle in interpreting it in real time with the customer on the phone. And the customer gets frustrated, and it happens over and over again. This is what we see because we don't have a system of automation in place. And look there. And to solve this, you need that system of automation starting to inject context at step zero, right? Right at the moment your customer starts to have an interaction with you or your team. And that's what we've built. So we're introducing CX actions. It's the ability to drive intelligent automation for every kind of business action, from personalization, context development, to making decisions for solving complex problems, adhering to complex policies, driving compliance across your enterprise, and driving the automation at the moment, automation at the right moment to your team in your contact center or directly to your customer. And the difference here is, how we solve this challenge is when our customer engages in that self-help or chat experience, we're already starting to listen to what's going on in that experience. We're trying to inject it with knowledge from wherever it is. It could be in SharePoint. It could be in Salesforce knowledge. It could be in Confluence. Who knows where that knowledge is that the customer needs? In that chat experience to guide them to the right decision, the right process, the right policy. We need to make sure that we can connect right at point zero to help drive that right experience for that customer. We want to give them relevant answers. We want to give them relevant process to follow right in that chat experience and automate as much as absolutely possible, right? And so that they can go away and accomplish tasks without having to get your team involved for even complex things. But then eventually, sometimes there's things that do require human assistance or intervention. We want them to be eloquently escalated into that experience where the customer knows who they are, right? Where agent doesn't have to look up all that context and put all the data and pieces together, where it's injected right into the flow. So the customer is presented with all the history, the right article, the right compliance script, right at point zero. So they can be highly successful on starting that journey, navigating it with the customer, and having a successful resolution you know, without having to do all the manual work of putting it together by themselves. These automation systems and guidance is really important for the long-term success and reducing the level of effort for your team. At each step of this process, you can see, I'm going to back up 2 steps. The system needs to be able to connect eloquently in real time to the right system within your enterprise. We've got these, little icons lighting up here. The system needs to know and automate the flow of the data, tapping into Salesforce when required, tapping into your Oracle backend, tapping into your ERP system, legacy system, sometimes multiple systems, just to drive one particular decision or action or automation. That's how you get the customer happy, right? You need the context starting to inform your system at point zero, and continuously inform it during the context of that, as that context evolves and as that context is built over the course of that call or conversation, so you get that resolution effectively. And that's what we built here at Zingtree. Okay, it starts with our enterprise level integration framework. We can connect into anything. And then we've got a modern 5th-generation integration environment that has been purpose built with the assumption that data is everywhere. You can't move it in bulk, and you have to move it in real time. And then we take that information from all of your backend systems, your knowledge systems, any backend CRM, databases, ERPs, whatever, and inject it into the orchestration level. This is where we build your flows, where you can build your complex decision infrastructure, your policies, your compliance infrastructure. You can inject your knowledge at the right, so that it can be injected into the conversation, into the flow, into the experience, the right moment at the right time with the right knowledge. CX actions, which is the component that is allowing you to then automate tasks, automate work, automate decisioning, and then triggering your infrastructure across your entire enterprise to react. This drives a lot of efficiency. It gives you the ability to increase your self-service rates from 20, 25% up to 90% for self-service deployments. It gives you the ability to drive massive increases first contact resolution for your agents, and because once you build this orchestration level, you can deploy it eloquently directly to your agent in whatever solution they're using today to handle those customer calls, and drive the value of the rest of your connected enterprise to that moment that matters with the customer, so that you can drive satisfaction and effectiveness. Drive it directly to self-service, or leverage this system of automation to drive any other experience that you're using an AI point solution or a GPT solution to deliver to your customer. So you don't have to rebuild your integrations. You don't have to rebuild your guardrails. You don't have to rebuild your policies, your definitive workflow and compliance requirements. Do it all in one place, distribute it everywhere. That's part of what we're building here for you, and that we start down the road with this new product release of CX Actions to make really valuable to your organization. We're completely different than anything in the market because this is completely platform agnostic. Doesn't matter what the back end is, doesn't matter what the front end is. We sit here in the middle and enable you to integrate in, dip in, connect to it in a secure, compliant way, build those guardrails, rails, and deploy it to your solutions on the front end. It's completely channel agnostic. We don't care if the front end is self-service in your contact center, your IVR. It's a no-code infrastructure. We've built a 5th-generation integration environment to reduce the level of IT support required to light up a system of automation and to maintain the system of automation over time. We're trying to make sure that there's very little IT required in deploying these solutions. Once they're connected, the systems across your enterprise are connected in this very new, modern, light way. We then can give your business team the ability to model objects, deploy actions and automations and changes to automations and actions and which workflows they're leveraged in automatically and dynamically. There's no database required. What does that mean? It's highly secure. We're only tapping into integrations at the moment in real time. This means the data is always right. This means that if you have a compliant or secure environment where PII or HIPAA information is important for you to forget, you're not storing it in another application. You're just using it to drive the workflow in real time, have a perfect audit log of what's going on and how it was leveraged, but the system doesn't need to hold that information and data. It makes the integrations easier to deploy. It makes compliance and security much higher for these types of deployments. It's like I said, it's this 5th generation integration framework, connects to all your siloed systems. It's lit up by this real-time flow of data. It enables you to have a large scale automation across your very complex enterprise without using a lot of IT resources. This is something CIOs really like to see in your environment, and they know it's required for the next phase of automation and AI that you want to deploy. So this is something that you can start thinking about with them about how you deploy this type of system in your environment so you get more value and drive more value to the front end systems that your team's already using. We help you create these workflows with no code, gather the context from all the connected systems and connected apps, and drive it to the workflow at the point that matters with your customer. We help you adjust them in real time so that you can get better and better with your efficiency and trigger and automate the next best actions to your team and the next automations throughout your enterprise. That's what we do with the system. I'm just going to give you a Nirvana statement here with a quick little view into a demo environment that is really trying to show you like what you could accomplish with this type of system. And then we'll move into quick Q&A right after that. So here we are. So I'm just going to restart this. This is just walking you through, like, you know, this is all capabilities that we know everyone wants to deploy in your contact center. When somebody calls in, you want the system diving in and looking immediately at all the context we can gather from, you know, on this caller from the first moment. What does that mean? Dipping into your IVR system, dipping immediately into your CRM system, dipping immediately into your back office system, so you can get instant, immediate context. Understanding what their CSAT is from historical experience with you at the first moment, so it can influence the paths, the journey, the policies of this particular call. You know, that information can come in, helps your agent navigate the environment, reducing the level of work for them in how they handle the calls. Customer here is saying they're calling in. We're doing an authentication. We're helping the customer implement your authentication protocols if that's required in your business, that they always can confirm they're talking to the right person at the right time. And then we think about how to then we orchestrate the experience. Well, there's this concept of listening. Listening is your agent listening on the phone and by proxy entering in what they're hearing and where to navigate and helping to navigate the experience. It could be data coming in from real-time voice or a chat service. We want to make sure that we can understand what that is in context so that we can help understand what's the problem they're trying to solve, the customer's trying to get addressed. Orchestrate the environment so we can drive the agent to the right next piece of context. Here, the customer says they're having a problem with their smartwatch. The system's telling the agent right out the gate they own 2 smartwatches. Which one is it the problem with? Okay, it's the one they just bought. Great. Let's move it to the next part of the experience. You know, after they select that the right smartwatch, what's the problem with it? Let's listen again. My battery's draining. Okay, let's get them to the smartwatch that they have, the right troubleshooter to determine how to solve that problem if the battery's draining. Let's get them into that support troubleshooting experience instantly with reducing the manual effort of your agent to get it right. Just drive it right to the right experience. Um, and then if that troubleshooter doesn't work, okay, what is this step? We've gotten to the point in this particular demo use case where the troubleshooter says we have to replace that battery. Okay, so if we're going to replace it, what have we done so far? Well, we've validated the customer. We know what their issue is. We know that we have to replace that battery. Well, what's the next thing? Well, is it in warranty still? Right? Because if it's in warranty, we're going to go down one path with this customer and replace the item. If it's not in warranty, we're going to probably go down a different path and maybe try to upsell them to the newer model or version because their old one is obsolete. So in real time, we're tipping into their warranty system and saying, is this in warranty? Well, guess what? In this situation, it is. So what do we do then? We then immediately dip in to the inventory system and see if we can ship them one. Is there anything in inventory for us to ship? And can we stage that up for them automatically? And the answer is here automatically. We do have it in warranty. It is in warranty, and we do have it in inventory. So now we can ship it. So we go down the path of saying, okay, the agent just asked next, okay, let me confirm your shipping address. You know, and they confirm it in the process, and the agent is prompted to end the call. The system automatically wraps up everything, documents the process, what happened, plugs it into which system it needs to go into, automatically triggers your inventory system to ship the inventory part to the right address. And the customer gets a text message that says, hey, here's what's going on. We shipped it to you. Here's where you can get the delivery status. If you need help, this is how you get back to us. By just clicking, you can get right back into the experience. And maybe this is also an opportunity to get a survey, from that customer. Again, this is a Nirvana experience. We want to help each and every one of you tee up the ability to orchestrate complex situations like this by driving the automations to the experience. Once you've built an experience like this for your agent, could you then deploy it to your customers so they can do it all by themselves? These are the possibilities that we're trying to help you with, and then enable your ability to orchestrate them more broadly. Let me go back to the presentation deck. And what did I show you? I helped you build and manage these workflows in real time in the platform. We helped you gather the context from across your enterprise ecosystem so that it can drive next best action. That we're informing the system with self-service session information, IVR information from your CRM, from support conversations, from any other content that you're gathering, or proxy information from your agent, policies and business rules, decision trees, complex knowledge structures. We're gathering that context in real time so it can inform your next step. And that's what we do here. We help you orchestrate and drive, the behavior and how these automations can be impacted within those support calls, and drive automation everywhere. Leverage the system to really get those next 10, 20, 30% of efficiency out of your team. Enable, 20, 30, 40, 80% increases in self-service automation to your customer base, and let AI orchestrate it. Once you build this system of automation, once you get it connected, once you get your rules, policies, object modeling, compliance requirements in our system, you can then leverage it everywhere, right? And really scale the impact of your organization support strategy. We're seeing massive increases in impact with the customers that we've worked with to deploy this. So we're really excited about it because not only is it a great product, is it easy to use, is it next generation technology, highly innovative, but it's having actual big impact. And as you guys all know, some of you are our customers, some are prospects, but we're really focused just in this financial insurance, software, hardware, consumer goods and services, healthcare, industries. This is where we're getting the high expectations of consumer demand on their experiences. We're learning and we're cross-pollinating what we're learning to people in other industries, so everyone can start to deploy the best practices of automation and support. And we've got a few minutes here. I'm gonna open it up to some of the Q&A that's been going on.
Hey, thanks, Mark. That was great. We're really excited about some of these developments here at Zingtree, and it looks like you are too. So we've received a lot of questions in the Q&A, so I'll read some of them. Some of them I will take, others I'll pass over to you, Mark. If
Sure.
you have more questions for everybody that's still online, at the bottom of your screen, you should see a Q&A button. Feel free to click on it and then ask your question there. We'll get to it. If you don't get to it, then we'll make sure to reply to you offline with an answer. All right, so let me go through. So there was a bunch of questions around our current integrations with Salesforce, Zendesk, Confluence, and one around the ability to see what's on the back end. So these are all great questions, and because your systems, while the themes are relatively similar for most of you here, I'm sure, the specifics of your ecosystems and your environments are really special and specific to you, right? So we're more than happy to show you how this works on the back end. We have your contact information, so we'll reach out to you to kind of set that up. If you have the same question and you didn't post anything in the Q&A, reach out to your customer success manager, reach out to your account manager, reach out to our support team, ask to see how this works on the back end. We're more than happy to kind of go into the weeds of how to create these automations. There was another question around how do you deploy intelligent automation? All right, so this one is kind of twofold, right? The first step is in our current authoring tool, where you would connect all your different systems into what we call connected objects. And then these objects are now universally available to the authors to get deployed wherever they want in their flows. And so there's the authoring piece of this intelligent automation. And then there's the deployment piece, right? How does this get rendered to your end users, whether they're your agents, right? Whether they're your end customers on the website. And so we offer a lot of flexibility there. We have native integrations with Salesforce, Zendesk, Five9, all the big ones. But aside from that, we also give you the ability to iframe Zingtree pretty much anywhere. So on your website, on a system that we may not have, a homegrown system that there's no native integration for example. We offer you a lot of ability to customize the look and feel. What Mark showed there is kind of the out-of-the-box look and feel of Zingtree, and of course we have an out-of-the-box rendering engine, but we also offer you the ability to customize it so that it looks and feel like your brand, and that your end users actually may never even realize that they're using Zingtree on your website, for example. All right, another question. I'll toss this one over to you, Mark, around pricing. Is this going to get covered today?
Sure. So a lot of what we're talking about here is incremental functionality over what you may have already deployed. Some of the things that we're talking about here do require some AI capabilities in our platform. So, we will have to determine whether or not you're deploying some things that would require consideration of AI or not. Some of the things that we talked about today are straightforward and you can put it into your platform right away. But we do have, it is incremental cost to deploy the automations. Now, every single one of these automations should be providing ROI. If you can do work automatically, it either speeds up your call or it provides your customer the ability to self-serve something. Both are big impacts on your cost savings. And the cost of this will definitely be you know, the companies that have deployed this are seeing 10, 20x return on investment on their first automations they deploy. So we're seeing big impact, and the cost is, you know, relevant or related to the impact, so that we're seeing that kind of ROI. So just talk with us, meet with us on the team. We're happy to work with you to get some of these automations deployed so that you can improve the efficiency of your business fast.
Mm-hmm. Great. Another question came in asking about whether or not we would be highly dependent on the response time of the systems to which that we connect. So sure, obviously, we're making some assumptions here, right? That you have some of the data available to be connected to, and that these systems allow for APIs, and that they have good response time. We're not a source of data, right? We don't hold your data, as Mark mentioned. We kind of just connect to your data. So it is dependent on whether or not that data is available. But most databases, most systems have a modern HTTP API connection available. So as long as it has that, we can dip into it. All right, another question that came through. Does the AI help improve the logic functions in the current tree to help filter out potential outcomes after doing any math and other specific tasks to help determine more accurate solutions?
Yeah, and that's one of the key powers of the system, because not only can automations be linear, they can be nonlinear, right? So what does that mean? One interaction, automation, logic can impact another, which could then impact where the system goes. So think about the ability to connect, automatically to a different tree, different node, because of what's being triggered between automations that may be happening in chain in the background. So it provides a lot of ability to, be highly computational in determining what's the best path. And that's also the area where we're building a lot of our innovation for AI to help drive more of these internal experiences and logic with what we're building here now. And that's down the road still before it'll get to our customers. But what we're doing is a lot of things that will help you self-maintain through AI, identify how to improve your processes and conduct them a lot more efficiently, and cover your processes more efficiently. Those are some of the areas that we're driving AI, because we want the system of automation to be, once you build it, we want it to we want it to be future proof. We want it to be very effective at plugging into anything else that comes. Salesforce will come up with a whole bunch of cool stuff, I'm sure, over the next 2 years. We want this to help augment that and provide incremental value on top of what Salesforce does. There'll probably be 10 awesome GPT solutions out there over the next 2 years. We want our system to inform those systems so they can be more impactful on behalf of your business. We are going to make sure our middle layer and our AI that's used to control and drive this automation, workflows, policy, guardrails, compliance. We want that to be really, really good at being distributed anywhere into any of these other systems. So that's where our innovation's focused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Very briefly, it doesn't have to be Zingtree or, we'd like to be Zingtree and, right?
Yes.
To kind of help that. So we're at time here. Thank you all so much for making the time today to join Mark and myself for this webinar. We're looking forward to answering some of the questions we didn't get to. Apologies. Offline, we'll make sure to reach out to you and get you the answers to the questions that you asked.
Yeah, really appreciate the time, everybody. I know it's a commitment to spend an hour with us, but really appreciate you all for doing so, and hope to talk with you soon about driving automations in your business.
Thank you all.